So I guess during the pandemic, people were rushing to buy homes and all kinds of stuff. To run away from the cities that were filled with crime and stuff like that. Whatever bullshit people fall for, or whatever. So because of that, the housing market is just totally insane right now. Insane to the point that but I mean, Idaho, all places you think Idaho will be affordable. Like who the fuck, spending a bunch of money in Idaho? But Idaho is pretty much
a lot of potatoes there, right?
Yeah, potatoes, and I heard Bruce Willis has a home there. They also have a weird Illuminati rich people called the Sun Valley Conference, where a bunch of Mark Zuckerberg and all these rich people go and talk about taking over the world and shit like that. So Idaho has that kind of stuff.
Trying to get the poor people off the planet.
Yeah, keep that in mind when we be in this segment. That all the rich people go to Idaho, they hang out. And so I'm gonna play this segment real quick about the future of the hot housing market in Idaho, because everyone wants to be close to power in a lot of ways. Even though. So
Idaho's housing market, it is a hot topic and a hot spot for real estate. But with so many people already trying to buy
look how boring that background is. Who the fuck wants to live there?
What's to come? Just how insulated is the Boise area housing bubble? And will it ever burst? Our Shira Matsuzawa reached out to some experts to find out. Shira, this is something a lot of people have been wondering about.
Absolutely, Tammy. And that's why I reached out to two experts today, one local and one who has been studying our market over the years to ask those very questions.
Probably the people in tents.
From increased home prices to bidding wars and not enough inventory, the Idaho housing market is sizzling. But is that sizzle building or slowing?
They just showed the most boring house ever. It's sizzling.
That shit is melting in the fucking sun.
It looks like it could be like this for a while longer. Yeah.
Realtor Chris Carpenter with Keller Williams says he's watched the market evolve over the last 20 years that he's been in the business.
Cookie cutter
biggest challenge we have right now is just the number of homes available for us to show to buyers, and the lack of homes coming onto the market is only exacerbating that.
For example, he says on December 1st, there were only 154 existing homes on the market to show buyers in Ada County of all price points. And it's that demand and lack of inventory that has some people concerned. Our housing bubble will burst. We reached out to Chief Economist for Windermere Real Estate, Matthew Gardner.
So when you mention that word, it immediately takes everyone back to
when you mention that
those
word.
Weird days back in 2008, 2010, where we saw a lot of people heading into foreclosure. Because of that, we saw a massive amount of new supply of housing coming on the market, and that caused, obviously, home prices to crash. Is that going to happen this time around? Absolutely not.
Gardner says that's because we're in a very different place now than we were then, especially when it comes to lending and borrowing, something Carpenter agrees with.
Anyone, if they had a heartbeat and could breathe, could get a loan. And so people were buying homes that they necessarily couldn't qualify for. And that's not happening right now. Buyers are having to go through a lot of checks and balances to make sure that they qualify for a home. And that's one of the biggest reasons I have confidence that our market's going to stay stable.
However, Gardner acknowledges there are people who believe the bubble is going to burst and the market will crash for a different reason.
And that reason is housing forbearance. You see, when COVID-19 kicked in, the FHFA basically said that it allowed people to stop paying their mortgages for a period of time by entering the forbearance program. However, at the end of that program, they're going to have to make up those missed payments.
Which Gardner says some fear those homeowners won't be able to make those payments, which will lead to foreclosure and eventually another housing bubble burst.
I don't see that happening either. Certainly, we will find some households, unfortunately and very sadly, lose their homes to foreclosure, but the numbers are going to be more of a trickle rather than a flood.
So if becoming a homeowner is still a dream of yours, Carpenter says be prepared to offer more than the asking price and for competition.
Or just be homeless.
It took him that long to get to the point.
4 months that wasn't in a multiple
that these houses are astronomically expensive. They're way more expensive than what they should be.
He will see the growth in home prices slow down, which he says will be good for the market. Tammy?
I know.
It's so weird that left out the total obvious, but this is why we have Dr. Regines and Black Power Magic Hour. We're going to get to the whole thing they left out about what's going on here. Why are Idaho houses $1 million? Cookie cutting corny houses $1 million. So we really want to.
Corny as fuck.
Yeah, sizzling market of boring ass houses.
And what are you in proximity to? Nothing. And it's about to be more nothing.
So I really want to pull this up.
And this is why it's about to be more nothing. Ketchum, Idaho. Ketchum, Idaho is a place where if you don't want to live in Boise, but you want to have a good living atmosphere, well, you go to Ketchum. I mean, you know, you have Ash Ketchum. You can catch them all.
Pokemon, right? Gotta catch them all.
You know what I'm saying?
You teach me and I teach you. Live in a tent city. All right, so.
Yep. So what ends up happening now is that people who are gainfully employed can't afford the rent. So we're talking about people. We're not even talking about the people that a lot of you disrespect. You know, the essential workers that you all, you know, thought needed to be clapped for but not be paid, right? We're talking about people who are several steps above that. Yeah. These guys are in tech. They're in this. They're in that. And they cannot afford to rent, due in part to the fact that the market is so crazy right now that long-term rentals don't make as much sense as short-term Airbnbs.
People are paying almost like we have an example here. Pretty much from Stillman who told the mayor, because not only I'm going to be homeless with a good job September 1st, but my friends who are in the service industry who don't make a lot of money, they can't pay $2,900 a month for a 2-bedroom in Ketchum. Who the fuck is paying $2,900 a month in Ketchum?
Who the fuck knew that there was a Ketchum? Let's just. I mean, there's really a Ketchum City Council that actually exists.
But like we talked about before, super duper wealthy people want to get away from everybody, live there. The most wealthy people in the country live there somehow. And in the shadow of it, you have $2,900 for a 1-bedroom. We have over here the medium home listings for almost $1 million.
And you know what's really funny? These people went there. And the thing is, this is what we in New York City, we can definitely relate to this. These people say, oh, we want to go to Ketchum because of the atmosphere, and we've got this and we've got that. Yeah. And what's actually happening
is lives down the street, you know.
All the businesses need to close because they can't find anybody to work at the coffee shop. They can't find people to work at the Target. They can't find people to do the things that keep a town actually running. So since the people don't have places to live, they're going to Boise. They're going to other places in the country. So you wanted to have that multi-million-dollar home, and now your nearest grocery store is 70 miles away. Oh, and how did it happen? Because every single time your city council tried to put something in place so that human beings could have some place to live, y'all used all y'all money to make sure that regular human beings can't have a place to live. So you know what? Make your own fucking lattes, assholes.
And it's crazy. They're serving the most wealthy people in the country. I went and what the mayor proposes is the most pathetic shit I've ever seen in my life. So while you have super duper wealthy people live outside the town, billionaires. I'm not talking about this like, you know, you're having like a Tesla and like in a Volkswagen. I'm talking about billionaires and multi-millionaires. The Ketchum
exotic cars, like ultra exotic cars.
Like Ketchum City Council will discuss several possible short-term fixes during a Monday afternoon meeting, along with allowing temporary tented housing. And then the mayor has the nerve that the mayor has this crazy thing right here. I want to see this. The mayor pretty much says that people can go to the YMCA down the street and take a shower. There's a bathroom in the park after all. They could walk over to the YMCA to take a shower before work.
Yep.
So,
and the thing is, like, I tried being angry at the mayor.
Yeah.
But when you read the entire article, you can't.
Yeah.
Because every time the mayor tries to do something to support human beings, he gets thwarted by the mega wealthy. No, we can't allow human beings to have a place to live. No, we're shutting that down. No. You can't build affordable housing, down the road for me. I'm too important.
So we got to talk about this crazy one of the examples of the story. So So a manager, one of the hotels, because like you said, super duper wealthy people go there to get Instagram views in the mountains and shit like that. He described a massive traffic wave of people coming to Ketchum for work in the morning and pouring out at night. So people can't even afford to fucking live in this. They live. So where do they go? So pretty much, this guy talks about one story of one couple who opted to set up a tent in the national forest outside of town, being unable to find housing anywhere close to their job. What was supposed to be a short stop measure turned into a 94-day ordeal. These motherfuckers were living in the forest for 94 days. So after more than 3 months of living in the woods, the pair ultimately able to find a place to live in Haley. But recently they have informed the home they rented was being put up for sale. So they have to look for another place anyway. They just found a place. Now they got to look for another place again. Another man
is probably back in the fucking forest.
Another man worked at one of those fancy ass schools for like these are the fancy schools. These are the fancy schools. Commuted 220 miles each day from a mountain home to Ketchum and back.
That's 440 miles a day because it's 220 going and then 220 going back. Like, who the fuck wants to do that every day?
He quit, obviously.
So guess what happens? Well, I've got my child in a fancy private school. Well, none of the faculty or staff was actually able to make it there. So now the school doesn't exist anymore.
So now, Dr.
Good job.
We're going to get to the meat of this, what we've been talking about. So several speakers at the meeting pointing at the finger at the wealthy, lawyered up residents. Some reason they have lawyers. They have lawyers who fight to choke out any attempts to build an affordable apartment complex as a home in the city of Ketchum. The mayor admitted the neighborhoods rose up and resisted. Resisted what? So tax credits, actually giving people money. Please, here's some money, rich person, to build low-cost housing. It got killed.
Or moderate cost. We're not even talking about like, bringing a bunch of, thugs for the third ward.
Like
we're talking about,
house.
Hey, your computer programmer that lives down the street and makes $140,000 a year. Can he please have a place to live? Please? Ridiculous. And the thing is, again, and this is why we push this narrative so hard on Black Power Magic Hour. Because it doesn't matter if you flip burgers or you learn to code. It doesn't matter. There's always going to be somebody above you looking to stomp on you. So it'll probably be in your best interest to stop caping for the wealthy for fucking once. Because it's not in your best interest.
So pretty much, this is crazy. Liz Keegan, who serves on the Blaine County Housing Authority, know that the county has 15,000 housing units and 24,000 people. There's enough housing area, she said. There's too many vacant units. So this is wild. So and they're saying what we've been saying over and over again. Ultimately, advocates say without more workforce housing, Ketchum will falter. You rich people have to fry your own eggs and teach your own kids
how to do your own surgeries on yourself.
Yeah, exactly. So it's an example of like wealthy people, totally super wealthy people, like it's like not even seeing people as humans. I don't know what's happening over there in Idaho. They know these people work for them, yet they don't want them to live in the town next to them. Like, at least slavery motherfuckers let the slave warm up the fucking bed before they the slaves let the fucking in the master's house. This is even worse in a lot of ways. This is horrible. They don't even want the slaves to be even near them. They just want you to work and go far away somewhere. At least the slave master let the slaves sleep in the attic or something.
They probably don't even care. Crazy. They'd be like, I gotta take a private jet trip to the supermarket. I don't even care. Because I gotta go 300 miles to the next place where human beings live. It's so nasty. It's so, and the thing is, I hate to be that guy, but you do know that when we die, we're all going to the same fucking place, right? Like, you're no better than anybody else. You're really not. And the thing is, like, you're creating so much bad karma by working against the very people that make your life as luxurious as it actually is.
And you can list the people: hospital staff, educators, electricians, hairstylists, restaurant workers. It's like everybody.
We're not even talking about McDonald's.
We're talking about fine dining. Like people who pretty much build a civilization. You don't want those people in your neighborhood. It's like, you know.
Do you know what? Build your own fucking house, bitch. How about that? No, literally. Get on the fucking ladder and start nailing the boards together. Since you're so fucking important that you don't need anybody. You don't need anybody, right?
So
fuck off.
And right now, and as we speak, businesses are actively shutting down because they don't have employees. They're literally sabotaging their own town. It's crazy to see. It's a different problem than like having low wage jobs. You know, it's like a different weird problem, man-made problem. So that's Black Power Magic Hour on Twitter. We're back on Facebook for now until they get angry at us being black or something. I don't know. And then YouTube, and then yes, and then Dr. Regis, he's live on Twitter, YouTube, Discord, Twitch, talking shit, and that's Dash and Bash. Rich people just want to just have nothing.
They just want to watch the world burn. Edition.